Good afternoon. Today we will be beginning the unit 1 of computer networks. So computer networks has been combined with another subject, that is it was earlier another subject which is known by the name of data communications. So this subject was earlier in the syllabus in fourth semester, and now it has been removed and it has been included with computer networks. So in computer networks, we will see a basic of data communication. That is, first unit actually is the basics of data communication. Then the next three units are computer networks. Actually, next three and a half units. That is second, third, fourth, along with fifth unit, first part. And the last part of fifth unit is a introduction to cryptography. So this is the division of your subject. That is, the first unit is data communication. Then the next three and a half units are computer networks, and lastly, we will study cryptography. So in today's class, we will begin unit 1. So in unit 1, we will study the data communication components, and the next is techniques for bandwidth utilization. So let's begin with unit 1. The first topic, representation of data communication. So with respect to this topic, we will be studying the introduction. Along with that, the topic itself is representation of data and then data communication. So this topic is being divided into two parts. First is the data representation and the next is the data communication. So first we will see a bit of introduction with respect to data communication. Then we will go on to the next part, which is data representation. So let's see the introduction. So whenever we are talking about communication, so among the two words that we have with respect to data and communication, so we know the two words as a separate entity. That is, we know what communication means and we know what data means. Okay. So when we communicate, we are sharing information. So this sharing can be of two types. Sharing of information or the communication actually can be of two types. One is the local communication and the other is the remote communication. Now, what do you mean by local communication and what do you mean by remote communication? Local communication is basically whenever two individuals are talking face to face. So that is if you are talking face to face or if you are standing in front of the other person and speaking to him, then that is known as a local communication. And the other is the remote communication, and this is where our subject enters. So remote communication is basically the communication that takes place over distance or remotely. So the communication that takes place over a distance. Now, with this remote communication, to help in remote communication, we started with the concept of telecommunication, or actually, the telephones came into existence. That is telecommunication. Okay, so telecommunication basically includes everything which is telephone. Tele is the word, actually Greek word, which means far. Okay, distant or remote. So telecommunication includes everything which is telephone, telegraph, which used to exist earlier, and also another one which is television. Okay, all of these, telephone, telegraph, and television, are for distant or remote communication. Now, coming to the term data. The word data refers to information presented in whatever form is agreed upon by the parties creating and using the data. So data is basically any information. We have been studying it from the beginning of engineering and we know that it is information. Now, information in what form, what kind of information? So the information that is agreed upon by the parties. So suppose two people are talking, then what kind of data? It is audio data. Okay, if two people are communicating over video, then it is a visual data. If two people are chatting over text, then it is a text, or if two people are messaging each other, then it is a textual data. So basically, whatever uh, the communication agreed upon, or whatever kind of information, the type of information that is agreed upon by the people communicating, that is here parties means the people communicating, or whichever person is communicating with the other person, then whatever kind of information they have agreed upon, then that is the meaning of the term data. Now we will just combine these two terms, data and the communication. So what do you mean by data communication? Data communication is defined as the exchange of data between two devices, or it can be between two persons. Since we are talking about computers, so it will be two devices via some form of transmission media, such as a cable, wire, or it can be air or vacuum also. So right now we are in the era of wireless, or even we have technology where we don't need wires, and it can the Wi-Fi can travel through air. Okay, so that is through vacuum also. Okay, through air or vacuum also. The data communication is basically the exchange of data. Now, for data communication to occur, the communicating devices must be a part of communication system. Now, if you're saying that I have two devices, both of them are switched off, they are not connected to anything, and I want those two devices to communicate. That is not possible. The devices which are communicating must be a part of some communication system. That is, they must be connected either through wired or wireless, or they must be in a network. It might be a distributed network. Any kind of system, a system should be there in which they are connected to each other. So it must be a part of communication system made up of a combination of hardware or software devices and programs. That is, hardware means basically the physical equipment, the routers, modems, all such kind of things. And the software means physical equipment, and the software is basically the programs or the applications that you install over this hardware to communicate. So now the effectiveness of this data communication system depends on four fundamental characteristics. Now, if two devices are communicating, there must be some kind of effectiveness. That is, there must be some kind of rules set up. That is, the devices must communicate in such a way that there should be a correct transmission, and the data should be delivered accurately. Some part of data is being delivered, some part of data is not being delivered. That is not the correct way. And the data must be delivered in time, in a timely manner. That is, if some data is not being delivered on time, or the first part is going last and the last part is going first, that sort of problems should not occur. So the effectiveness of a data communication system depends on four fundamental characteristics. The first is delivery, then the next is accuracy, timeliness, and jitter. So now, for the first, delivery, the system must deliver data to the correct destination by the intended device or user. That is, if you are delivering the data, it should go to the device that you want it to go to. That is, if you are delivering a device, delivering data from system A to system B, then it should go from system A to system B. It should not go to another system C. That is not correct. So the delivery should be done to the correct destination. That is, if you want to deliver it from A to B, then it should reach B only. It should not reach to some other destination. And data must be received by B only, and B or this system B or user B, for example. Now the next is accuracy. The system must deliver the data accurately. That is, we should not have data which is altered, or some part of the data has been lost. Such kind of things should not occur. That is, accuracy must be there. The next is timeliness. As I said, if the data is divided into parts, then the first part should go first, the second part should go second, and so on. It should not be in a abrupt manner. So the system must deliver the data in timely manner. So data delivered late is useless. So if you're delivering the data late, it is useless. In the case of video and audio, So suppose I'm talking about the example that I was giving is for video and audio. They should be given, that is, they should be delivered in the same order that are produced. So suppose if you have a video of 1 minute and it is being transmitted in such a way that you are getting half-minute video first and half-minute video next, that is, it is going in that. So if you're sending your messages on a video on WhatsApp, it takes some amount of time. Now imagine that in that WhatsApp video that you're transmitting, the first part is going last and the last part is going first, then it won't be understandable. So in this case, this kind of delivery that I'm talking about is real-time transmission. This is important. That is, if you're transmitting it in real-time transmission should be in a way that the same order, if you are delivering the data, it should be delivered in the same order that from where it originated. That is, the origination and the delivery should be in the same order. Now the last one is jitter. Now what is jitter? Jitter is basically the difference in the arrival time or variation. So if we go by the textbook definition, it is variation in the packet arrival time. That is, it is the uneven delay in the delivery of audio or video packets. That is, whatever I have talked about in this case, the timeliness case. So suppose if I'm giving an example, video packets are sent every 30 milliseconds. So we have a video for which we have divided it into packets, and each of them is being sent every 30 milliseconds. And if some of the packets arrive with 30 millisecond delay and others are arriving with 40 milliseconds delay, so uneven quality in the video is the result. So you are transmitting a video and you are saying that there should be, or the computer has decided that there should be a delay of 30 milliseconds. Now, in some case or in some case of in some parts of the video, there is a delay of 40 milliseconds. Then obviously there will be a 10 millisecond gap, or there will be a 10 millisecond fraction where the video has not been uploaded or the video has not been sent. So in that case, there will be a quality or difference. There will be a uneven quality in the case of this video. So because of that, there will be a jitter. So that uneven quality which is being produced is because of this delay. So this variation in the packet arrival time, this is what I have mentioned. This is a very important definition for 2 marks actually. Variation in the packet arrival time is known as jitter. Okay. Now next, we'll be studying about data communication system components. So there are mainly 5 components of a data communication system. So before we see these 5 components, we will see the diagram for the same. So the 5 components of data communication are, we have the sender. First we have the message actually. So this is the first component, message. Then we have the sender, the receiver, and next we have the transmission medium, this transmission medium, and finally the fifth one will be the protocol. So these are the 5 components of data communication. So basically, whenever we are sending a message or whenever we are transferring data or whenever data is being communicated between 2 devices, so the message is the information, or it is also the data that needs to be communicated. And what are the different kinds of data we have? We will have either text, numbers, picture, okay, so images basically. Then we have audio and video. Now text will include all your Word, PDF, all those files. So but in general, these are the different data that we have. Okay, so whenever this message is being transmitted, there needs to be a sender and a receiver. The sender is the device that sends the data message. So it can be anything, your computer, that is PC, laptop, mobile phone, video camera, anything. And what is the receiver? The receiver is the device that receives the message. So sender is the one sending the message, and receiver is the one receiving the message. And it can be the same thing, that is a mobile, PC, laptop, a video camera. Okay. Now, what is the transmission medium? The transmission medium is basically the physical path by which a message travels. So this is a path. Let me just mention it. It is a path from which the message travels from the sender to the receiver. Some examples of the transmission medium. So examples of the transmission medium can be twisted pair wire. So yeah, so it can be twisted pair wires, that is wired transmission. Then we have fiber optics, and also it can be radio waves. Radio waves are your wireless mode of transmission, and it can also be a cable. Now, the next is finally the protocol. Now, what do you mean by a protocol? A protocol is basically a set of rules. Protocol is basically set of rules that govern data communication. So, it is an agreement between the communicating devices. So basically, protocol is, suppose the sender and receiver are sending a message, they should agree upon which kind of medium they are using. They should agree upon whether the data will be encrypted or decrypted. So basically, without a protocol, two devices may be connected but not communicating. So suppose the example we can give in real world is, if we have a person speaking French, and if we have a person, so suppose the sender is speaking French and the receiver is speaking Japanese. So they should have a medium, and they should have a language which both of them can understand. So that can be either English or Hindi, any common language which both of them can understand. So that is basically a protocol. That is, you should have a set of rules, or you should have an agreement between the sender and the receiver, and that should be able, that is the sending device, if it is sending a message, the receiving device must be able to receive it and also understand it. So this is the these are the 5 components of data communication. So we'll just see it over here. The first one is the message which is being sent, that is, it is simply data. And then we have the sender and the receiver, which is basically a communication device. It can be computer, laptop, etc. Then we have the transmission medium, that is a physical path. So it is simply put a path, and it can be a wire, cable, fiber optics, or even radio waves. Then we have the protocols. Protocol is basically a set of rules that are used for data communication. Now, this actually concludes the basics of data communication, that is the introduction for data communication. Next, we will study the next topic, which is data representation. So as I said in the earlier slide, that is the messages can be data, and that can be in any form: text, numbers, images, audio, video, and even pictures. Uh, and text will include your PDF, Word document, etc. So information today in this times comes in different forms such as these, and text is basically represented as a bit pattern. So text, if we are talking about text in the computer language, it is a sequence of bits, that is zeros and ones. So everything that you send is a sequence of bits, and different sets of bit patterns we have, which can be represented by the text symbol. Each set is called a code, and we have Unicode, which is 32 bits representation. Then we have the ASCII, if you remember, American Standard Code for Information Interchange, which was developed in the United States, and it has 127 characters in Unicode. And the next is numbers. Numbers are also represented by bit patterns, and for that we have seen decimal, hexadecimal, octal, etc., and a binary representation also. After that, we have images. Images are also actually represented by bit patterns. So pictures, I am sorry. So pictures is already mentioned here. Images. Images are also represented by bit patterns. So basically, whenever we are talking about images, they are in the form of a matrix of pixels. where each pixel is given by a small dot. So basically your image is constructed by the form of pixels, where each pixel is a small dot, and the size of that pixel, what is the size, depends on the resolution of your picture. So if someone is into this picture resizing or picture editing, then they will know all of these terms, pixels and resolution. And suppose we have an image that can be divided into 1,000 pixels, then each pixel value will be from 1 to 1,000. And so basically we can have a image with 1,000 pixels, 10,000 pixels, and nowadays with phones you know all of these terms. So basically after an image is divided into pixel, each pixel is assigned a bit pattern and each pixel is given a value. So if we are talking about image which is not made of pure white and pure black pixels, so basically, first, if you're talking about a black and white image, that is BW, black and white image, then that will be represented by only 0 and 1. Now, if you're not talking about this pure black and white image, it has some kind of gray colors also, then it is given in this way. So 0, 0 represents black pixel, 0, 1 will represent dark gray, 1, 0 will represent light gray, and 1, 1 will represent your white pixel. So there are several methods to represent our color. So this is your black and white image. Then we have your image which is in gray, light gray pixels, and then we have your color images. Color images are usually given with this RGB, red, green, and blue. So basic primary colors in that image are red, green, and blue, and all the other colors are basically a combination of these three primary colors. And another method is also Y, C, and M, yellow, cyan, and magenta. So the same scenario with respect to this, that is the primary colors are these yellow, cyan, and magenta, and all the other colors are the combination of these three colors. And next we have the audio. Audio refers to the recording or broadcasting of sound or music. Audio by nature is different from these text numbers or images. So text number and images were of discrete quality. That is, you had a text, it can be either 0 or 1, the numbers also the same way. Images also, pixels are given each a value. But in the case of audio, it cannot be either 0 or 1. That is, it is in this continuous form. It is like a wave and it is in a continuous form. And even when we use a microphone to change voice or music to an electric signal, we create a continuous signal. Then the next is finally video. So video refers to the broadcasting of a picture or a movie, and video can be produced as a continuous form or it can be even in the form of the images. These days you mix images together and then add audio to that video. So that can be a form of video, and also we can have a video recording. So there are two types of videos actually. So this is the data representation, and with this I believe we have concluded the first topic of unit 1. The next is the flow of networks. So in the case of flow of networks, data flow, so communication between two devices can be either simplex, half duplex, or full duplex. So basically the flow between, we are talking about the flow between two devices. So we have seen the communication between two devices and the different components. Now we are seeing how the data flows between two devices. So if the direction of the data, so in this first data flow, that is simplex mode, the communication is unidirectional, as in that is it is a one-way street. Okay, this is easier to understand. It is a one-way street. Only one of the two devices on the transmission mode can transmit. That is, one should transmit, the other will receive. That is the only thing. If the so here we have two devices, mainframe and monitor. So if the mainframe is transmitting, then the monitor can receive, or else if the monitor is transmitting, then the mainframe can receive. So the simple examples are keyboards and your monitors. So the keyboard can only give the input and the monitor can only accept output. It is There is never a case where the monitor is giving input and keyboard is giving the output, right? So that kind of direction is the simplex mode, and the simplex mode can use the entire capacity. So if we have a transmission medium, the entire transmission medium can be used to send the data in one direction. Then the next we have is half duplex mode. In the case of half duplex, each station can both transmit and receive. So if we have two computers, both of them can transmit and receive, but not at the same time. If one is transmitting, the other should receive, and if the other is transmitting, so if we just name it as A and B, if A is transmitting, then B should only receive. It cannot transmit its own data. And if B is transmitting, A should only receive. It cannot transmit its own data. So this half duplex mode is like a one lane road or one way street with traffic allowed in both directions. So just let me write it. It is similar to a one way street where traffic is allowed in both directions. So here one way street, traffic allowed in only one direction. In only one direction. In both directions. But the condition is that when cars are, suppose when data is traveling in one direction, the other data must wait. Or if we are talking about traffic, when the vehicles are traveling in one direction, so if vehicles are traveling in this direction, the vehicles traveling in the other direction should wait. So there will be a red signal. Then these vehicles should be stopped, these vehicles should be stopped, and these vehicles can continue going. So this, in the half duplex transmission, the entire capacity of this channel is taken over by whichever of these. So if suppose station A is transmitting, so this entire transmission medium will be taken by station A. It will transmit its entire data on this channel. Station B will just have to receive. And the other way, the same thing will happen. So vice versa. Now, walkie-talkies and radios are examples of half duplex system. So in the case of a walkie-talkie, if you have seen it in movies or if you have one, then you will know that if one person is speaking, the other should wait, listen to the entire thing, and then reply. So that is an example of half duplex mode. So half duplex mode is used in cases where there is no need for communication in both directions at the same time, and the entire capacity of the channel can be utilized for each direction. Okay, now finally we are seeing full duplex mode. So you might have understood what full duplex mode is by now. Full duplex mode is also known by the term simply duplex. So that is, both the stations can transmit and receive data simultaneously. That is, if your station A is transmitting, station B can also transmit, and station A and B can receive data and transmit data at the same time. And this is actually, if we take the example of our streets, it is a two-way street and the traffic is in both the direction. Traffic flows in both directions at the same time. Okay, so here traffic is in both the directions at the same time. So this can be represented in this way. Actually, not this way. 1 second. That is half duplex. So traffic flows in both directions. So it's the same, the direction of data all the time. So in full duplex mode, signals going in one direction. So now in this case, this transmission medium needs to be shared. That is, signals going in one direction share the capacity of the link with signals going in the other direction. The sharing can occur in two ways. Either the link must contain two physically separate, that is, there must be two links, or The capacities of the channel is divided between signals traveling in both the directions. One common example of full duplex, if you think about it, is our telephone network or even mobile phones, where both the people can talk at the same time and listen at the same time. The full duplex mode is used when communication in both directions is required all the time, and the capacity of the channel, however, must be divided between the two directions. So this is our data flow.